So welcome, Drew. Welcome to our Look Up for Adam event. It is March 12th, National Look Up Day, and we are very honored to have you with us
Thank you very much.
tonight. Thank you for
Thank you.
being with
I want to start by knowing if you can tell me about Haley.
She was a twin, a beautiful 22-year-old. She was in college. She was, this is her with her cousin up in Vermont. Um, she was at Pratt University, very promising student. She had an art scholarship, and she and her sister were doing very well. The sister was in another art college in Brooklyn, and they just Hallie made a bad choice about a boyfriend, and the boyfriend was um, addicted to heroin, and eventually he drew her in to share his misery. When we found out about it, uh, we were just beside ourselves, and it was a year-long battle to get her into treatment, to keep her in treatment, to get her to sobriety, and keep her there. She fought hard. She tried to become to get sobriety, and and yet she wanted to be loved and love this guy, and it was a tough battle between her love of this guy and love of the drug, and trying to please her family, and we lost out, and she lost her life in September of 2017. We had no idea where she was or what she was doing, and there was a police report, and I was working that day at News 12 that said the young woman's body had been found on the side of a road in East Hampton, and they didn't have any identification on her. So they he apparently she overdosed, and he panicked, wrapped her body in a blanket and dumped her on the road, and took off with her wallet and her car. When he heard the police were looking for him because it became apparent that she was with him when she died, um, he went home and overdosed and was found dead the next day. I was covering a story, and a separate story in Southampton. Thought, what a terrible thing for a young person to be left abandoned on the side of a road and unidentified. And my youngest daughter called me late that night and said, I think from the description I'm hearing, it sounds like Hallie. Because she had a tattoo on her wrist of twin rings. She was a twin. As you know, Linda and Karen, it can go downhill very quickly with addiction. I just try to remind people, uh, you know, um, don't let the stigma win. Talk about it, get it out in the open, discuss it, and uh,
Yes.
and realize this is a huge problem. We're in a pandemic, but we're suffering from a terrible epidemic. With my work with the Southampton and the ISLIP opioid committees, all the good numbers that we were able to put in since 2017 have all gone down the drain, and we have to start back from zero again. It's in Southampton, the year that Hallie passed away, 18 people lost their lives that we could count in one little town of Southampton from overdoses. There's probably a lot more, but that's what we were able to officially count as drug overdoses, fatal. The year later, there were four because of the public awareness that we were able to get going with the opioid committee. And then the 2019, there were zero. We couldn't count any drug overdoses in 2019. But then 2020 happened, and we're back up around 14. And being socially distant and not being able to communicate and be out in the open, it has really um, made the situation a lot worse. It's very difficult for us to get information out to people, to the public. There are public service announcements, things like that are just very difficult to get people to hear those. Islip Town Goes Purple was a wonderful campaign and program to get everybody uh, to display purple in their businesses and in school and in their everyday life in town of Islip. And there's tremendous awareness there. Um, but again, a similar situation, overdose deaths are back up again. And we've really got our work cut out for us.
Getting the word out more, starting with the sixth graders.
Yeah.
The younger kids as they go into middle school. If we start talking to them earlier and earlier, not too early where they don't understand, but early enough where they're going to start feeling the peer pressure.
No, I think sixth grade is good. That's where the trouble starts, is in middle school and going into high school. So there's a lot of good evidence that shows that you should start earlier than we're starting now. So I think you're on the right track there. You're going to run into some opposition from parents because they think kids are too young to discuss drug addiction at that age. But again, that's part of that stigma, you know.
So what does the conversation sound like at that age?
We try to start with like tonight I talked about Halloween and candy. And there are reasons why your parents tell you make sure that whenever you accept candy that it's wrapped from the store, and that it's not homemade unless you know the person who made it for you and your parents approve of it. The same thing with any kind of substance that your friends might give you or share with you in school or at a party or at home when your parents aren't there. Don't share any substance that you're not aware of. Be careful about experimenting with the medicine cabinet, because there are things there that can kill you. Something that they can grasp, because Halloween is something that kids are aware of, and they know the danger of not accepting candy that they're not sure about. So the same thing with any kind of substance that their so-called friends might give them at a party. Be very careful, because just one pill can kill you. I said that, and I think they saw the wisdom of that. Like so many of these kids, our children weren't lifetime drug abusers. They weren't delinquents. They were good children, good to their parents, good to their community, but they just got curious, and one step can kill. There are some school districts that wouldn't even let us come and give talks. Hard to believe, but there are some school districts that just don't believe that they have a drug problem, or they don't want to hear, I don't want to hear it kind of thing. We got a lot of support from Southampton, East Hampton, Riverhead, and Brookhaven to do what we were doing, as well as Islip Town and in even Huntington. So I'm happy about that, but there are certain school districts that don't want to hear it. My first temptation when this happened was to not say anything and just be quiet, and I felt guilty. I felt responsible in some ways because I didn't do more, but I didn't know exactly what to do. And I'm not going to say that anymore.
Thank you so much, Drew, for spending this time with us and being so open and candid about Haley and
Thank you.
The trauma that your family's been through.
It's not easy. And I wouldn't wish this on any other family. But knowledge is powerful, and that's what you're doing. That's what
we're coming out of the darkness.
Yeah.
We're coming out of the darkness, and like you said, no more shame, no more silence. Break the stigma. Say their names.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
I'm so happy with what you guys are doing.
Thank you, Drew.
Keep it up.